All right, here we go again. So don't let them fool you. I picked up that they're trying to project something. I didn't wham it into existence. Hashem and I moved the magic to expose it. We didn't move the magic for a murder. We moved the magic for it to be exposed. Let's say that murder occurred and we exposed it. Do you realize how many murders they commit every year? Actually, every month, and they hide it in some other bullshit. Right. Read the news. You see some guy going crazy down the street. Yeah, 1 in a million, it's natural, but the other 99% is them. Right. Somebody gets out of a car, shoots somebody. Because what they're trying to do, I told you about the license plate game, that I would see it everywhere. And eventually they're hoping that I kill an innocent party. Right. But they've been killed also. They call it they say it's part of the game. Right. The hardcore people. The other ones, they don't know it exists. Now, I was in Santa Fe. I'm telling you, I was telling them, they're trying to sexualize adult men with kids. I mean, they're not supposed to be doing this. Understand what I'm saying? They're breaking somebody's mind using the most lethal methods of spycraft available, short of poisoning the person. I mean, completely poisoning them. You drug somebody, you poison them, right? And also, they're getting people addicted to drugs. So that's why I bring up Doug Bettman, the deputy U.S. Marshal that got supposedly swallowing a balloon. We don't know for sure, right? You can't trust the Marshal Service. Anybody that's been around knows that, right? They're part of the game. So again, they're breaking a person's mind into pedophilia, where they can't protect themselves from Satan. So it's difficult enough to get by in the world or something like that. Just in everyday life, the more you have, generally, the easier it is, if that's your focus. Wherever your focus is, the more money you have, the easier it is to focus in a certain direction. But it doesn't mean, like with Epstein's a big question mark, because how did they get him to do it? And I believe he was pushed into it, again, from what I'm seeing. But Epstein's the red herring. That's what I want you to know about. In your community today are some real pedophiles. Some are cops, some are teachers, some are multimillionaires, some are millionaires. They're scamming everyone with Steve. He's gone. It's over. Move it out of the way. Because the real pedophiles are the people I speak about. And the real coverage for those pedophiles are the people I speak about. Like I said, I went to Florida, and they kept putting this kid around me. I knew he seemed like he was gay, like a gay boy that may have been raped before. I had concerns whether his mother's boyfriend was maybe sexual with him. It just seemed like something strange wasn't right around him. Right. But again, I knew I was being also, the cops were doing the deep state shuffle around me. Right. And again, Hashem was showing it to me, and it wasn't working the way they had hoped it worked. Right. Well, so the cop that was involved in one of the incidents, I didn't have an interaction with him, but he was there to like F my head, right? And he didn't will this, but I went to pick up my package at the store, not the store, the office of the extended stay, and I had it was an Amazon package. And there's nothing in it. And there's no way it could be used for anything. And Hashem has me walk past the office. And I'm like, what the hell am I doing? I got to go in the office. And I turn around, and there's a cop in the parking lot across the street. What he's doing is he was detailed to wait for my package to arrive, and then he was to drive through the thing, hoping I would see him. Right? They're trying to make me anti-police. Right? Trying to harass me and all that. So the cop comes driving through, and I see him, and I don't know if he saw me and he realized it was bullshit. I don't know what he was. I don't think he was part of it. He was just kind of there. But as soon as I grab my package, then he drives out of the parking lot across the street and comes to our extended stay. Meanwhile, the real pedophile I'll get to in a second. I brought this up before, I'll bring it up again. And cops know these people exist. So I'm taking walks, and like I said, that boy would show up, and I'm kind of listening to him, trying to figure out what his thing was, why he's even there, because I'm trying to broadcast, and he would show up, and I couldn't broadcast while we were talking, but it kind of like courtship of Eddie's father type of thing. Yeah, you just talked to him for a couple seconds because I felt bad for him. His real father wasn't available; he was in prison, and I met them because the mother was working on her his mother was like a mechanic. The father was working and she was working on the vehicle. She was like changing transmissions. So I said, "You need any tools?" "I got tools. I got stuff over in a storage unit close by. What do you need anything?" She's like, "Nah, not right now." And so I just lended moral support while they were doing it. Of course, she was a woman, I was alone. I wasn't trying to have sex, but maybe she'll like me and I won't be alone anymore. It's Tyler, Texas, where all the pedophile FBI ended up being. It's like I said, don't mess with me. As soon as I power up, you'll be exposed, all of you. Right. So, so part of the magic is finding the truth and then speaking the truth. So then another young guy shows up, but he's like, the kid, I don't even know what his age, like 15, 14, something like that. So then this like 19-year-old, 20-year-old guy shows up. And I could tell he's coming down, he's strung out. Like he's probably on dope. He's trying to get clean. He's telling me that too, and I can tell. And he goes, and he, we're having a real conversation. He's like, "I wish he'd meet my father. My father," he says, "My father preaches in a church, and he's got some properties, and I'm hoping, I'm telling him I'm going to be clean, and I'm hoping that I can live in one of his properties. So he's got properties, he's got money." Larry's in a extended stay because he couldn't, they kept effing with him in Oklahoma City, and he thought maybe. The bottom line was, again, they were on the calls that I was making, so they wanted me to move to Tyler, Texas. Right? And there's a reason why that congressman's no longer there, because he was part of the setup. I don't remember his name, but he used to be famous. Correct. Thank you, Larry. So I get there, and or his father gets there. He shows up, and his father's acting screwy and like kind of angry, looking at me because he's like, "I want you to meet my father." So when I get done, Hashem's like, I don't remember how I remember his name. Because I think he was a junior, and his father was a senior, so I knew his name. And then, Hashem told me to Google the father's name. So I Googled the father's name, and he's a pedophile. And he's got all these properties. He preaches in a church in Tyler, where they're trying to dog me. I know what they're doing, okay? It's happened for like 35, 40 years. Probably 40 years, actually. Right. Hang on, I gotta try to get in here. Trying to set me up. But again, they're trying to also break my mind and become something, violent, pedophile, whatever it is. Right. What I didn't tell you, he shows up, right? This is before I knew he was a pedophile. He's got like a $50,000 to $75,000 pickup truck. I don't know what they cost, but it's definitely more than $50,000. Right. So I Google him. He had sex, and they try to go after that. They go, "Well, he was caught and he did his time." Well, I never did that, so there's no time for me to do. Thank you, Larry. Right. So he rapes this 6-year-old, but he's like this on and off again preacher. Whenever he wants to, preach, or whenever they have to preach, he preaches at a church. Here, they won't even let me go to the church without projecting pussy women at me. They're pussy women, man. They're sickos. They're wackos. I guarantee they gave people sex to get where they did in life, including somebody that's like a bishop or a president in a church.
12%.
Thank you, man. So I'm like, this guy here is actually a proven pedophile. He owns houses in Tyler, Texas. He owns a $50,000 to $75,000 pickup truck, and he goes to church as a preacher whenever he feels like it. Right. Puts his name on a list, and they have him preach. Meanwhile, you won't even let me have a day of peace. And if I meet somebody, you move them. I met a woman and her mother. Like, we started being friendly. They move. Next thing you know, they move out of the hotel. They move them out of the hotel. And the only person left is the boy. You see how this is happening, right? Otherwise, I'd be hanging out with a woman that was like maybe 28, and her mother was maybe 50 or something. Right. Thank you, Larry. So, needless to say, they fucked me up the whole time I was there, and that's this latest round of disability where it got worse. Right? I actually could have healed there a lot better if they hadn't been continuing it. Right? Oh, these are these PIs, man. They're there to kill people. They're there to kill people. They're sickos. Some of the sickest people on earth, man. Forcing people into pedophilia where their mind can't even calculate that they don't want to be it. Decades if it's required. It's how sick they are. So like I said, of course, Tyler never gave up, right? F more, make some phone calls. He's going to Dallas. He's going to Amarillo. He's going to Colorado. Make phone calls. And what happens? Oh, look, it's an FBI agent now in Tyler that's a pedophile. Only a matter of time, Kansas. Only a matter of time, LDS. Only a matter of time. Believe me, you'll all be exposed.